This review was made possible by contributions from viewers like you.
Hey guys, the future belongs to those who... what the hell's this?
I think we're on TV.
What? What are we doing on TV?
I don't know, check the info.
What?
Check the info. On the remote.
Okay. Bob's Show, The Terrible Tubes. Bob Show and Raven find themselves trapped in television. Not only must they endure awful TV shows, but they must also work out how to make them better if they hope to change the channel? Huh. Well, we've worked out weird concepts before. This shouldn't be too difficult.
How can you be so calm? We're trapped in TV!
I don't know, seems like we deal with something like this every year. Anyway, what are we starting with? Oh, shit. Yeah, remember a long time ago when I reviewed Tentacolino, the third animated movie about the sinking of the Titanic, wherein, of course, nobody died and the story centered around a bunch of mice, toys, and the lost city of Atlantis? I have no idea how a movie this terrible and this badly received could get a spin-off series, but here we are. Fantasy Island. Good idea naming it something that you wouldn't think would have anything to do with Tentacolino, by the way. And just look at what these opening titles are promising us. Adorable widow puppies, pirate ghosts, and all kinds of wacky hijinks. Yep, this was certainly worth the loss of 1,500 innocent lives. Anyway, we open on Smile the dog sitting under a giant mutant flower. And frankly, I am disgusted by how good this looks. They put so much effort into the animation for this handful of shots, but you'll quickly see that not only is it grotesquely inconsistent with the rest of the show, but it makes you wonder why they would work so hard on this while putting absolutely no effort whatsoever into the script. If they wanted to throw this kind of animation in a movie about the Titanic that's aimed at children, that'd be totally fine. But to waste it on this garbage is just depressing. And speaking of depressing, here comes Tentacles, or Audie, or whatever the hell his name is.
What a surprise!
A surprise? What have you been thinking about?
Or maybe his name is Mario.
It's me, Tentacolino!
What have you been thinking about?
I was thinking about the Titanic sinking using my imagination.
Imagination? You didn't imagine the Titanic sinking! That actually happened!
I was thinking about the Titanic sinking using my imagination.
What? The Titanic?
Why is Tentacolati surprised by that? He was there! He's the one who made the ship sink! Oh, do you not remember that he's the one who made the Titanic sink? Here's a flashback from The Legend of the Titanic to get us all caught up.
Listen up. Baron Vendor Tilt ordered us to sink the Titanic, and we have to do it at midnight. Our future depends on it.
Hooray for our leader, Ice Teeth!
Of course, they'd forget that his name is Razor Teeth. They trick Tentacolino into throwing an iceberg at the Titanic, since of course icebergs form underwater and only reach the surface when someone throws them, and the ship starts to sink.
This time you really got yourself into trouble, Tentacolino. I don't know how many people we'll be able to save in these icy waters.
I'm gonna say rough estimate somewhere between all of them and all of them. Oh yeah, Tentacolino saves every soul who would have died, and everyone lives happily ever after until the beginning of the sequel rearing its ugly head. Our alleged heroes are searching for the wreckage of the Titanic for reasons we're just supposed to imagine. They get sunk by the prisoner sharks, and Tentacolino just happens to come across them, as do frickin' Atlanteans, why not?
Stop, Tentacolino. It's useless. There's no hope left for them.
Useless? Inside of the capsule are Don Juan, Elisa Pepperoni.
What are their names? Donna Juan and Lisa Pepperoni?
Sure, why not? We can't expect the show to remember their real names, can we?
And we have Atlanteans? Okay, whatever. But why are their chariots pulled by horses instead of seahorses?
They're horses under the sea, and ergo, they are seahorses. Airship logic! How the hell is that ship flying?
It's an airship. I hate you.
So they take our heroes to Atlantis, but it'd be all too easy to just let them drown.
Wait, dinosaurs?
I think they're supposed to be Nessian sea monsters.
They're dinosaurs. And why do the horses have fins when they aren't even swimming?
Oh my god, I'm rewatching Tentacolino with completely fresh eyes. I mean, I've been here, I know what to expect, but you're going into this completely blind.
I am. And I'm scared.
Speaking of these different modes of transportation, why aren't they going out with sea dragons and My Little Ponies if they have a giant fish ship?
Hello there, handsome pup.
This is real. I am dead. I am dead, and you are bringing me to the hell for
That is
dogs.
not true.
Oh, please do not take me to doggy hell. I just met you, and I do not love you. And despite neither Smile or Tentacolino being there to remember it, it's time to get a flashback of the rapping shark. Or the shark having an epileptic seizure, maybe?
Or a really bad acid trip.
See, this is what I was talking about the animation earlier. When they aren't meticulously drawing each frame one by one like traditional animation is supposed to be, they're employing this weird CGI morphing thing that just looks bizarre. I know that this question is kind of pointless to ask in regards to this property, but how can anyone look at this and decide that this would work?
Also, these sharks are wearing prison hats, and they're anthropomorphized to the point where their fins are being used like arms. Clearly, realism wasn't the goal here. So why did they have to include these pelvic fins? They just look inappropriate.
Do you remember that light? Those terrible rays that the soldiers of Atlantide fired here and there?
Atlantide? Not Atlantis? Why not? They f***ed up everyone else's name in this stupid show.
And if they're from Atlantide, that must mean they're Atlantidians.
We did not know about our destiny.
Wait, what? Why are they dressed up in English uniforms? Why do they have a cannon?
Ah, there's actually a perfectly logical explanation for that. They aren't Atlantean soldiers, they're toy soldiers that have been lost in all the transatlantic voyages that have happened over the years.
And they're alive?
Yes, they are.
Why are they alive?
No idea. Moving on.
A little more to the right. Yes.
Okay, hold up. Didn't the Atlanteans save our heroes by spraying bubbles around their heads? Why don't they have those bubbles now?
Ah, see, in the movie, they take the elixir of life, which allows them to breathe underwater. It makes sense in context, but because this isn't explained in this recap, it's kind of a big plot hole. The recap failed to explain to us what the hell is going on.
No, stop! I have nothing to do with it. I was just passing by.
Oh great, TiVo's drunk. Long story short, too late! The sharks and the would-be plunderer of the Titanic, Lord Vandertilt, are defeated, and Donna Juan and Lisa Pepperoni are dumped on an island so that they can't tell anyone about Atlantis, and they're all just fine with never seeing their families again.
What are you doing?
We were remembering nice times about when the Titanic sank and when Tentacolino saved us and brought us to Atlanta.
Yes, nice times.
I know, right? I have such similar fond memories of Hurricane Katrina.
And Tentacolino? Isn't that some kind of Mexican chicken wrap?
It's incredible. It's the most beautiful place I have ever seen in my life.
Are they just now noticing the island that they've been stuck on for God knows how long?
The king gave us the ship, this island, and the mirror, but Baron Vandertilt and all the sharks are seeking us. They want the treasure, and they want the Titanic.
What treasure? What Titanic? I mean, okay, we know that it's fine, but they shouldn't know that. That was the point of zapping them with these memory eraser lasers, right? So that they'd forget what they were doing here, go home, and wouldn't be a threat anymore?
You don't have to worry. The King of Atlantide gave us this lost island to protect us.
And if protecting them was really what the king was trying to do, why wouldn't he just keep them in Atlantis, Atlantide, like he originally wanted to? They just left you here to die! And the episode ends with them deciding that they want to make a big, happy family by making sweet love to their dogs or something. And so that was the pilot episode of Fantasy Island. Now on to episode 2 of 26.
Must we go through the entire series? Isn't there a shortcut somewhere? Can't we just, watch this episode and then that episode and get the general idea?
Hey guys, just got back from my vacation and couldn't have noticed you were reviewing Fantasy Island and thought I'd be of some assistance.
RaisorBlade, you're watching us?
Yeah, I just got back home and everything, decided to check up on some YouTube and everything, and saw what you were doing, and I figured, what the heck? I'd figure it out for my 2 cents.
Oh, thank God. You are just the person that we need to talk to. You were the first one to review this show and make it out of it alive. I mean, surely you must have enough of a working knowledge to tell us what episodes are essential and which ones that we can just skip?
Okay, so I think the thing you'll be most glad to know about is that despite the fact that there is continuity in the show, it is still pretty episodic. So instead of focusing on the overarching plot that's barely talked about, instead, I recommend focusing on the sheer insanity that the show has to give you. So, I recommend watching the first 5 episodes, episode 8, episode 11, episode 13, episode 15, episode 17, episode 20, and the final 3 episodes altogether. Those are the episodes that I recommend you guys check out the most, as they are the most awkward, creepy, and just plain horrifying altogether.
Thank you. That is such a big help.
But if you want to know how Top Connors got back to New York to tell his story in the flashback of the first movie, you're probably going to have to watch the whole thing like I did.
Oh. Really?
Yeah, I'm afraid so. It's a thing.
Damn it.
Good luck. I will pray for you.
Anyway, Donna Juan and Lisa Pepperoni are busy building a home for themselves, completely ignoring the giant luxury cruise liner waiting for them in the bay. Ronnie and Top Connors wander aimlessly around the island and eventually come across an old pirate's cave stuffed to the gills with treasure. This treasure is immediately forgotten, but they still rouse the attention of this pirate ghost named Francis, who, with the aid of his sycophantic little cloud friend named Lulu, vow to chase the newcomers away from the island. However, they completely abandoned their vendetta against Donna Juan and Lisa Pepperoni as soon as they had their first child. Why? Never explained. What's also never explained is how this horrible little anime baby, was born in a week and nobody thinks it's weird. No, I don't care if this is a magical fantasy island or whatever. A baby being born in a week after its conception is going to raise a few eyebrows. The abomination against God and nature is somehow the Prince of the Sea, and is able to breathe underwater and swim with some level of proficiency despite being only a few minutes old. Again, no one questions any of this. The King of Atlantide, who sent these two to live on the island in the first place for the sole purpose of making sure that Atlantide remains a secret, throws a huge baby shower for their collective families and the Titanic's original captain, Edward Smith. Don't worry about this being a giant leak in Atlantide security. He's able to wipe everyone's minds clean before sending them home, raising the very obvious question of why even bother bringing them here in the first place? Vandertilt and his goons are somehow still coming all the way out here to the middle of the ocean, despite being completely oblivious as to why they would do so. Lisa Pepperoni's horrible little hellspawn ages to about 10 years old after only a few days. Somebody question this, damn it! This isn't supposed to be possible!
I felt there was someone sniffing, that's it.
And he has the voice of a clown. Would you expect anything less from this show? Somehow the bad guys get their memory back and decide to raid the hidden treasures of the Titanic. They stage a war between the barrel submarine pirates and the toy soldiers, like at the finale of the last movie for no reason. And sure, everyone else's voice work is wretched, but they made that Highlander General doll sound like a little girl, completely missing the point of what little characterization he had.
I'm the commander of the mountain artillery troops. I'm dolled up like this because I fell into the hands of a little girl who thought she'd put a wig on me when she saw me with this skirt on. It's awful. I can't bear it.
We are going to make a patrol. We still have some time before they arrive. If we find what I am thinking, the tide of battle is going to all be in our favor.
Said war is observed by our heroes from the hull of the Titanic, which is for some reason flooded with water, since that's what survivors of a sinking ship want to see. The battle is won thanks to some wholesale slaughter instead of just making them forget what they were doing here like what happened in the movie. Lisa Pepperoni tells Donna Juan about how she's pregnant again, but she wants to keep it a secret from everyone else just so she can give birth to a daughter even faster than she did her son, and who is somehow even more nightmarish. Yeah, there's a difference between, hey, guess what, we're expecting, and what kind of curse am I under to give birth to two babies less than a week apart? Human beings do not work that way! Naturally, this little monstrosity is lauded with all the same fanfare and holy reverence as her brother, and she can talk and control animals within hours of being born because why the f*** not? Donna Juan learns of his father setting out a search party for him, which he wouldn't know about if not for the miracle of 1917 television news. The king figures that the best thing to do is allow Donna Juan and Lisa Pepperoni to visit their parents so that they don't have to come out looking for them. Why don't you just send them home and wipe their memories like you did the bad guys at the end of the last movie? Ice Teeth gets word of their leaving, and his oyster minions sing a reprise of their little number from the movie. And they forgot to put the song in. How do you do that? The king, about whom I earlier joked for looking like a ring wraith, gives Thing 1 a magic bracelet that turns him invisible. Yeah. He tries it out and immediately starts causing chaos because he's a horrible demon child. Of course he's going to cause chaos the second he thinks that he can get away with it. Admiral Pingo, who somehow lost his stereotypical lisp, maybe the king zapped the gay right out of him, is piloting the sub that's taking our heroes to the mainland, and he takes them through an area that's littered with underwater volcanoes, when it would be all too easy to, not go through an area that's littered with underwater volcanoes. Thing 2 ages significantly in the 30 hours that they're traveling underwater, and now this 4-day-old girl is dressed up like a little prostitute. Thanks, Italy.
Speaking of Thing 2's rapid aging, shouldn't the similarly afflicted Thing 1 look like he's about 20 years old now?
They first visit Donna Juan's family, and surprise, surprise, no one questions where these children came from. Their arrival is enough to attract the attention of the anachronistically modern news, to whom Donna Juan tells everything about Fantasy Island. Nice going, King. You're a friggin' idiot. The bad guys follow our heroes to the mainland so they can try to kidnap the children. Why aren't they trying to pillage the Titanic now that nobody's there to protect it? The sharks swim around in circles to create a tidal wave that somehow travels a century into the future, given all of these beachgoers in their very modern swimwear. And why do they do this? So they could steal everyone's beach chairs since they're on vacation. Makes sense to me! Hours into their visit, Grandpa Sean Connery decides to take them into the mountains because why the hell not? And of course, Lisa Pepperoni is left behind, because it's not like she's important or anything. They spot some wolves, which Grandpa Connery describes as the ancestors of gods. They befriend one of them, who fell into a hole, and this is all giving me a horrible feeling that these kids are gonna get inappropriate with it like their parents did with their dogs. These other wolves hold Vandertilt at gunpoint for God knows how long instead of just going for the jugular, because we can't have carnivores actually eating their prey, can we? Then the wolves start talking to him. I can't even question how this is possible, since he's been talking with the sharks all this time despite the movie's own internal logic of the magical moonbeams bullshit. But why are the wolves only talking to him now? And then boom, we're suddenly in London. Or maybe the bastard love child of London and Rome? Donna Juan and family meet Lisa Pepperoni's father under the cover of darkness, since, remember, they're trying to remain hidden while dressed like a bunch of vibrantly colored streetwalkers. But instead of seeing the Duke reacting to how he's incomprehensibly a grandfather, we instead focus on all the sharks enjoying their off time. Why is this important? It turns out that Grandpa's house also has a couple of pirate ghosts haunting it, because pirates are the only people who leave their ghosts behind. And naturally, Thing 1 and Thing 2 aren't afraid of them because they're the spawn of Beelzebub. What the hell are a couple of ghosts to these things? The sharks are trying to follow Vandertilt. Why? But they can't follow him as they wander through the freshwater sewer rivers of London. How? So they enlist the help of the same rebel mice from the movie who help them find their way. Huh? The sharks help the mice steal a barge full of cheese because reasons, and the mice somehow think their possession of this cheese means the entire city is theirs. The cheese theft is the top news story because absolutely nothing else is going on in London. Ronnie and Top Connors go out to investigate, why not? And now that they're gone, Vandertilt can finally kidnap the kids.
Because Ronnie and Top Connors were their guard mice?
The mice are captured by the cheese thieves and used as shark bait until they just aren't anymore. And the Atlantidian army is there because Ronnie called for them despite having no opportunity to have done so. Yeah, that's good. Follow up on the cheese theft. Don't worry about the kids or anything. Vandertilt's goons make off with Thing 2. Thing 1 tries to tell the police about it, but they just walk away, much to Thing 1's complete nonchalance. But don't worry. Remember that bracelet that turns him invisible? Since terrible movies and TV shows don't know the difference between invisible and teleporting, that means that Thing 2 can just materialize where he wants, and he shows up in the goons' van to screw with them instead of, something that might actually save his sister. The Atlantidian army freezes the sharks in giant ice cubes that don't rise to the surface of the water, since, remember, ice doesn't float. They capture Vandertilt and his men. The police move in and take them in for the theft of the cheese, which is a far worse crime than the Duke's granddaughter getting kidnapped. And then they take the Titanic back to New York. So, hooray! This show did something right in that it took Top Connors back home so he could eventually tell the first movie in flashback and justify the stupid franchise's existence. But in order for it to do that, it had to make everything that happened completely pointless! All of the hoops that the King of Atlantide had to jump through to keep the rebuilt Titanic a secret, to keep Donna Juan and Lisa Pepperoni isolated from the rest of the world, everything that he had to do to keep Atlantide a secret is now completely obliterated because he just decided to take everyone home without even so much as wiping their memories clean like we know he can! Oh, and Vandertilt's their butler now. Oh, irony! Because it's not like he could just steal the Titanic now, can he? Oh my god, I can't believe I survived that!
Yeah, but now comes the tricky part. How do you make it better?
Aside from lighting it on fire, you mean? I've got some ideas. 1. Get some voice actors who actually give a damn. 2. No talking between animals and people outside of our main cast. If you're going to actually explain something as fantastical as humans talking with animals thanks to magical moonbeams, the least you can do is keep it consistent. 3. Pick a method of animation and stick with it. Stop flip-flopping between traditional hand-drawn and this weird flash thing. 4. Condense! Literally hours of screen time are wasted on flashbacks, including pointlessly drawn-out recaps of previous episodes, awkward silences, and characters just walking from one place to another. 5. Fix the editing. I can't tell you how many times I've spotted these weird little title cards randomly inserted into these episodes, and I refuse to believe that some proper editing couldn't save this show's pacing. 6. Stop having our leads be so interested in the romantic goings-on of their dogs. It's just icky. 7. No anime babies. It's not like these character designers don't know how to draw children. How did these kids come out so hideous? 8. It's the lost city of Atlantis, not Atlantide. Where the hell did that even come from? 9. Remove any trace of the King of Atlantis. That guy is shady as fuck. 10. No plot points that are immediately forgotten about. If we're introducing things like hidden pirate treasure, talking wolves, etc., let's do something with them. 11. Take all of the underwater footage and make it into one of those 3-hour ambience loops on YouTube. And finally, hire adults to write the story instead of playing a game of Mad Libs with the screenwriter's children.
So what now? Can we change the channel and get out of here?
Only one way to find out.
This is crazy! It's crazy! It's crazy! It's crazy! It's crazy!
Subscribe, like, follow, comment, share, watch more.